Hey everybody, my name is Chris Massimo, also known as the therapist at law, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to apply to law school. So I'm going to break it down to four pretty easy kind of concepts slash steps. The first of which is you need to think about where you want to work. Okay, so what I mean by that is, for the most part, if you're not going to a T14 school, these are the top 14 schools in the United States, your Princetons, your Harvards, etc. If you're not going to these schools, oftentimes employers will want to hire from universities nearby. So for example, I live in the DFW Metroplex, and so we have SMU, UNT, and Texas A&M, SMU in Dallas, UNT in Dallas, and A&M in Fort Worth, where I go to school, and I graduate in 5 weeks. Thank you, Jesus. But choosing a place like that is important because the alumni base tends to stay in those areas. They're familiar with career services. They know how your university is operated. They're able to come visit and get to know you during meet and greets. They tend to hire from the places that are near them, assuming that those places are credentialed right, have good students, etc. But with all these other variables, even, they're going to typically prefer to hire from their own people. Again, T14 is exclusive. If you go to T14, you can pretty much go wherever you want. If you go to Harvard Law School, you choose your city. But for the rest of us mere mortals, I go to Texas A&M. I think we're ranked 44 right now, which is amazing. I'm very proud to be an Aggie, but it's not Harvard. So, DFW is where I grew up. It's where I wanted to work, and that's where I will work post-grad. I have a job lined up in corporate real estate law for post-grad, and so that's the first thing you need to consider. What cities would you like to live in post-grad? Do they do the type of work you think you want to do? For example, I'm doing big corporate work, so I needed a big metropolitan area. I went to Baylor undergrad and would have loved to live in Waco, but you're not doing any corporate law in Waco, Texas. So I elected not to apply to Baylor as one of various reasons why I chose not to apply there. So that's number one. Number two, you need to prepare for the LSAT or GRE. Okay, you need to get a good score on one of those. Now, some universities now are taking the GRE, and I'll be honest with you. I did the GRE for grad school, and I did the LSAT for law school. I hate both tests. I think that I'm not going to get into it because that's not the purpose of this video, but I think both tests are weighed too heavily. That said, they are weighed heavily. And so if you want to get into a good law school, and especially if you want to get money, dollars, tuition dollars, which I've mentioned in other videos about how expensive law school can be. If you want to get tuition dollars, you need a good LSAT score. So you're going to need, I would say, 4 months or more to prepare for the LSAT, to really sit down and attack that thing so that you can raise your score. I've seen students not get in or miss a mark on financial aid because of 1 point on the LSAT. It is a thing. It is absolutely a thing, and you need to prepare for it. Okay. Now, money's super dependent on that. Choose the city you want. The third thing is, depending on how well you score on that and the GPA you already have, or if you're watching this video and still in undergrad or still in grad school, the GPAs you're solidifying, you need to see where those scores fit. And you need to be honest about that. Now, have a couple of reacher schools. I would say because these aren't, you have to pay for some of these applications, right? I'd say have maybe 2 or 3 reacher schools. But for the most part, the majority of where you apply should all be based on doing your research. Google it. What are their average GPAs and average LSAT scores / GRE scores to get in to this university? Did I fall in that range? Yes or no? And then I would base most of my options there in connection with the cities I want to live in, right? And then I would develop a list and apply to those. Now, again, I know these can be expensive, so you have to be a little bit smart about how many you're submitting. I'm not sure if you can hear my dog's little piddle paddle feet, but I apologize for that if you can. So you have to choose. You have to choose reasonable options, I feel like. Okay. So the fourth thing is, you picked your options. You got your city. You're like, all right, I fit squarely into these number of universities. I think I got a real shot at. The last step is to really develop a story. So I have known, I can't name names, but like I've known students, and I've also known people in admissions who have been like, wow, this student had a series of businesses that they then sold off and made pretty substantial amount of money. And that really shows, maturity knowledge, patience, entrepreneurial skill, that's a unique candidate. This, I know another student who worked overseas in the Asian Pacific Rim across various countries for multiple years before applying to law school. That was very unique to them. Speaks multiple languages, worked in multiple countries, has lived in multiple places. That's something to them that they found attractive. So when you get to this point where you can only admit 120, totally depends on law school, but let's just say 120 kids, right? 120 students, not kids, but students. You have to start nitpicking once the scores get about the same, and you're going to want a reason for them to remember you. Okay. Mine was that I'm a business owner and that I'm a former bodybuilder, and I did my best to kind of interweave those into like, I'm older and mature and you should trust me and I'm a good student and I have the grades, and but I know how to like lock in and be patient and consistent and dedicated to something. And I try to weave that into a story. It's not a story, but a story nonetheless. And you're going to want one of those to help get you over the top. Okay, so hopefully that will help you kind of navigate the waters of applying to law school. Leave your comments below. Let me know where you're applying. I wish you the absolute best of luck. I suggest watching my other video on should you go to law school as a combo to how to apply to it to make sure that you should be. But I welcome your thoughts. I welcome your feedback, and I wish you the best of luck. And I will see you next time.